Hey guys, Rick Shaw here. We had a fantastic couple of days, and that was really good. We went to our friend's house on Thanksgiving. Super nice couple. We really care for them a lot. Nice people. Beautiful, beautiful home they invited us to. They had us in their house. We got to meet their kids. Very respectful young men. And boy, did we have a feast. My goodness, you name something on a Thanksgiving feast, it was there. I just took a little bit of everything, and everything was good. Excuse me, I'm still coughing. But yeah, that was really something. And then Ed gave me a book to read, a Christian book. I knew about it, and when I got home, I read through the whole book. I'll talk to him about it, and I knew a lot of what was in there already. So that was pretty interesting. But that was nice. He gave me that book to read, and they gave us some Paso Lubok food to take home. So we brought some food home, and then yesterday my daughter came with the grandkids, and in the car she made it in 2 hours and 15 minutes. You know, it's different in the car than on the bike. And I went the back road. She took the pike, and we had stuff to eat. I bought a Sugardale and then this honey pepper ham, and it was kind of a letdown because both of them were not that good. It wasn't the way I cooked it, because I cooked it the same way I always cook them, but they were okay. And then I made the candy yams. They were okay. So I'm starting to think maybe it was just the medicine I'm on making my taste buds bad. But they garbaged up a lot of food. We gave them a bunch to take home. And we got them some clothes and winter hats and a bunch of stuff for the kids. And my daughter, my wife got her a nice jacket, you know, a long one. And it fits her good. I didn't think it was going to fit, but it fit her good. Keep her warm. And that'll help her out. And I was talking to her, and she was saying, "Hey, if you move there, best not to be in the town she's in because of the school district." And she works for that school district, and said you don't want to be in that school district. She said it's not and I know there's some dope and stuff in that school, in the high school and all that. Well, right across the river, I mean, from her house, you could fly a frisbee across the river into this other town of Apollo. And she sent me a link, and there's a bunch of inexpensive houses over there that are not bad shape. I mean, there was a couple of them that were super cheap that were just trashed inside. You know, you'd have to go in there and spend more than what you paid just to fix it up before you could move in. But there were a bunch of them that were move-in ready, well within my price range. The only thing I didn't like is they're right on the river. The one place you can walk out the back and you're down at the river. So if the river rises up real high, you're going to get wet. And none of them were raised up. So, but there were more. I'm going to keep looking in that area. I got the zip code, so I'm going to look in that area. And that's just right across the bridge and up the hill, and we're at her house. So she thinks that's going to be pretty cool because we hadn't told her we were going to go there. And now that she knows, she's pretty excited and happy about that. And I said, you know, when you come there, if you need a break, drop the kids. You know, drop the kids and go. Because I understand it. When you're young, you do need some time, sometimes away from the kids. I know I'm older. Sometimes I want to get away from these kids. Don't get me wrong. I love them to death, but they're loud. Kids are loud. So that's just the way that goes. But we're looking forward to that. Then today, our friend came and got us, so we went down to the store, and we had some stuff to exchange. I got a pair of boots that were waterproof. I still had the original box. I had the receipt in the box. I always do that. I just leave it in the box and all the stuff that came with the boot, the tags and everything. I wore these boots one time, and they leaked, soaked, and they were still a little bit wet on the inside. So I took them back, and they said, "Whoa." The woman had no problem. She said it was paid with the card, so she put the money back on the card, and then I went and got they didn't have that boot anymore, and I wouldn't have bought it anyway. But I told her that they leak. I said, feel the inside, it's all wet. I said, these are 100% waterproof. Look at the tag. It's okay. She said, so these ones are bad. So she took them, gave me the money back. But what I got was I exchanged them instead of, instead of getting that same brand. Now these ones, I've had these before, Herman Survivors. I got these babies. Okay, good motorcycle boot. And same price. And so I just paid it with the card because the money went back on the card, and I just paid it with the card. So that was kind of cool. So I got that taken care of today, and these fit pretty good. When I got home, I tried them in the store. Okay, they fit good. Then when I got home, I put them on and walked around till just now. Just took them off, and comfortable. They're not too hot. I think they're going to be plenty warm on the bike, and they are waterproof all the way up to the top. I went ahead and stuck them down in the bathtub, and I filled the bathtub up to water all the way up to the top of the boot, and was holding it down with a stick. And I left them in there for 10 minutes, and then I just pulled them out and dried them off. They pretty much dried right off, just drained off, and wiped them off with a towel. Not a drop inside. So these ones are waterproof. I hope they stay that way, and because I need that. So I'm set up for winter. While I was down there for a couple bucks, I picked up a Dickie. If you guys don't know about these, it's not a sweatshirt, but it's a turtleneck, and it just goes over your shoulder. Help keep the skin from being covered. I have another one, but it only goes up to about here. This one goes all the way up, and it was $1 something. They're real cheap down there. You get a pack of 3, or you can just buy one. I said, I'll just get one. I only need one now. It's not like I gotta wash them all the time. I only wear it when I'm on the bike. I do have the good gloves, and also I have my spare gloves. I bought these big leather ones when I was in the Philippines. Right here, see these babies? These are so a dog don't bite you. They're real long, like gaiters. And then these little gloves, to help keep warm, I just slide these inside, and it fits. It fits pretty good. So now I got another nice warm glove. Faye got me that one really good pair, waterproof, that are warm. They're real warm. They're nice, but they only go up to my wrist, a little bit farther than my wrist. These ones go to my elbow, and then I can just put the jacket over the top of them. And that jacket's got a cuff that keeps the rain out. It's got a sealed cuff that you pull tight. So I'm thinking, and I snow sealed them. And I was talking to a guy in there looking for some stuff. I got the waterproofing for my Carhartts, and I just got a small jug of it and a cheap sprayer. So today was just a ridiculously cold day and windy, and I'm gonna go out when we get a little bit of a warmer day, and I'm gonna spray my covers all down to make them waterproof. That stuff works really good. It's called Star Bright Waterproofer. If you want to waterproof a jacket or coveralls like I got, that's the stuff to buy, guys. I've tried it all. Copper naphthalene works really good, but it smells and it stains. It stains everything a green. So, some people don't want that. And I don't want to put that in the house because you'll be smelling it in the house for a month. You'll never get rid of the smell because it's a petroleum product. But this Star Bright waterproofer, you put it on, once it dries, there is no smell. And it doesn't last like the copper naphthalene. Copper naphthalene, you put it on one time, you're done. You never have to reapply it. This stuff, every about 4 or 5 years, you need to reapply it. And maybe even every once a year, hit the seams again. You don't have to do the whole thing, just the seams where you're flexing a lot. And you soak it down pretty good. I got a gallon, and you just soak it. And then you let it dry, soak it again, and hit the seams, crotch. What I do to keep the zippers from getting boogered up, I take a piece of masking tape and put that over the zippers on each side, and then I just spray away. just completely spray the heck out of these things, and that'll keep any wetness out of there. And nothing got through to me when it rained last time, and I was in a downpour. I mean, both ways, just a ridiculous downpour, like Filipino rain. I didn't get wet, but the thing absorbed so much water, I weighed a ton. It just was so damn heavy, so I said, that'll help me out, lighten it up. But that's good protection for them riding, in case if I do go down, I'm not going to get my legs scraped open. I'd rather just have the Carhartt get scraped up. So I got that. I got the good boots now. I'm pretty much done with my riding suit for the cold weather. And I will ride. I do like to go out and just ride when it's freezing cold. I've always done that. And, in the afternoon, I won't take the family on it because in case there's ice or anything, I'm real careful watching for it. But I don't want to take a chance with like the kids or my sweetie because I don't want them getting some road rash on them. And also, plus they need to listen to me better when I tell them how to dress, because it's really aggravating when I say, hey, you better dress warm. It's not that cold out. Yeah, it is cold out when you're doing 50 on a bike. Now you got a wind chill. So my wife got on the bike with me. I was bundled up. I had all my stuff on. I did not get cold in the least bit at all. I was just perfect. All I got was complaints. I'm cold. Well, you got to dress for it. You can't just throw a t-shirt on and your winter jacket. You need to layer it up and make sure there's no exposed skin. Take the scarf I offered. Take the stuff I offered. And then no tennis shoes. Wear the boots. You got nice boots. Wear the boots. They'll learn. But I like to cruise on that. The front tire's holding up great. I'm not having a problem at all with the tire losing any air. And we're looking forward to it. We're supposed to have lake effect snow tonight and tomorrow. They're talking about it could be up to 8 inches, which, I believe it. Here you could be dry as a bone, and then 15 minutes later you got a half a foot of snow. That happens in this area a lot. When those clouds from over the lake come over, they just dump it. And I don't know if we're in the snow belt here. There's a snow belt area where, some places will get a dusting of snow, other places will get 2 feet. I don't know if we're on that snow belt, but we're by the airport, and I know the airport is like part of the snow belt because they can get some serious snow on their runways. You watch it on the news where they got these big plow trucks plowing it off constantly and spraying the calcium down and all this stuff. So, we might be in the snow belt. I'm not 100% sure though. But I had a buddy helped us out a little bit. Thank you very much. She's from Pennsylvania. Really appreciate that. We're still working on trying to get a car. It's just getting harder now because the ones I'm looking at on Marketplace are far. They're very far, and it's getting somebody to take me to look at them. And just because I'm going to look at them doesn't mean I'm going to get it. I want to just go look at it. And but I'm going to hopefully. We'll get somebody. I'll pay somebody just to take me around. Somebody who's got some time, and just take me around for a couple days. I want to look at a bunch of them before I buy. It's either gonna be a Buick LeSabre with the 3800, or it's gonna be a Mercury Marquis with the 4.6. Either one of those. Doesn't matter. And there's plenty of them for sale that are under 100,000 miles. And the Mercury Marquis, if you don't get 300,000 miles out of them by taking care of them, then you crashed it or you ran off a bridge. And the Buick, I like the Buick 3800. I had a buddy's wife who had one. I didn't know anything about that motor. And she needed stuff done to it. Belts, hoses, water pump, and needed all this stuff. And she got a price from her mechanic, and they couldn't afford it. So I told my buddy, let's you and me go out there and do it. I said, buy me a hoagie and some beer. And he said, okay. So he went and got all the stuff. We went to the parts store, got everything we needed. Oh, crap, you talk about the easiest car to work on. 3 Allen wrenches, and we pulled the water pump out, put the new one in. Didn't have to take nothing off, no belts, no nothing. Pulled the impeller out, put that in. So that was the first job done. Didn't drain the radiator, didn't have to do any of that crap. That was cool. Changing the belts, we stuck a little thing in there. Boop, one belt. Popped that belt on. It's got the little diagram right in there. We took the radiator out. That only took a few minutes. And we flushed it out real good. Just with hot water, and he had something to put in. I don't like using the flush where you run the motor. Because every time I've ever done that, you wind up your water pump within a couple weeks burns out because something eats the seal on the water pump. So I don't do that. So we took it out and flushed it, and flushed it with a garden hose. Put it back in, put the new stuff. We did change the oil. We changed the transmission fluid filter, which was another easy job. That was a piece of cake. And we bled the brakes. We did a whole bunch of stuff to it that day. And then we mounted 4 new tires. He has a tire changer, a manual one. And we did all that. We were done by noon. We started at 7. We were done at noon. We got back we had to wait for the parts store to open. And we left out of there about 7. And I remember noon, his wife came up with the hoagies, and her car was ready to go. So we took it on a test drive. And we drove up to the beer store and got a 6-pack and went back to his house, ate our hoagies, and drank a beer. And I was like, boy, what a great car to have. What a great car to have. Easy to work on. Never seen anything like it in my life. The only other vehicle that was easier to work on was my 292 and my Chevy pickup. That was easy to work on. Everything was just right there in your face. But and those motors go forever. If you take care of them and just change your oil, you don't got to worry about them. Just drive them. Drive them. Make sure you got good plugs in them. Make sure your filter. We did the fuel filter too. Make sure you got a good fuel filter in them. 9 times out of 10, when they start running rough, it's the fuel filter or it's the fuel pump. It's one of those two. I had a buddy that had one. I said, let's take a look at it. And it was running, but then would hit this like a hitch, do weird stuff. And that's the first thing I did. I pulled the fuel filter, and it came out with like gray sand. We had to get an air compressor and blow gook out of there. And then we actually disconnected the pipe and blew mineral spirits through it until it cleaned out. And then we had to go clean the injectors. And then we put it all back together, which was easy. Injectors just pop right out. There's a little clip, boop, pop them right out. And we put all that back together. And he said, man, he drove it to work. He says, he ain't doing it no more. You must have fixed it. So that, they're just a fantastic car to work on. And I loved the Mercury. The first time I ever drove one of those, I rented one. And I didn't want to give it back. I've driven in BMWs, Mercedes, and they're very expensive and they're very nice. But I'll tell you what, they got nothing on that Mercury. They got nothing on it. That thing was just as good a car as that for 25% of the price. And it had great power. I mean, you stepped on the gas, it had all the power you need. All the power you could even want. And just a beautiful, quiet ride. Cornered good. It didn't lean. It cornered really nice. You never heard the tires squealing. And in Pennsylvania, you could hear a tire. As soon as your tires go bad, you hear them squealing. This thing just drove. And like I said, it was thrifty on fuel, and I didn't want to give it back. When I took it back to the rental place, I said, you guys don't want to sell this, do you? And they said, no, we don't want to sell that one. And I said, well, if you got any more of these that are up for sale, let me know. He says, we send them out to a place that buys them, and then you got to get it from them. And I'm like, oh, okay. They'll mark up the price. But fantastic cars. Plus, I fit in them good. I fit in them real good. And both those cars, to me, are nice looking. I hate driving a car that's ugly. I got to like the looks of it, or I don't want to get in it. But every car I ever owned, I like the looks of them. I don't care what color they are. I don't like red, but I've had cars in different colors. That don't matter. Whites, mostly I got white. The one vehicle I really liked, I had a green 77 Chevy pickup, and it was not green shiny. It was flat green, like a powdered green. and not a dark green either, a lighter green. That was a really good looking truck. That thing was really nice looking. The guy who had it before me had it like rhino lined the whole, where instead of paint, he rhino lined it with this green rhino lining. And I got it, and a week after I got the motor blue, but we took that 250 out, and we put a 292 in it, and I changed the rear axle too, because I didn't want to play around with the stuff. I got a really nice bunch of more leaf springs, and it was a heavy half-ton. I used to put my truck camper on it. That was a great truck, but it was the way it was set up. I had it. You drove in first and second gear, and if you got on the highway did you need third. The way I had the rear end set up, and it had the changeable rear. If we got into where we had to pull into camp, where we were pulling the camper plus the trailer, the boat, I just go in the back and pull that off, change it, put it back on, 15 minutes, and now I had first gear you could hardly even use. You'd be running, and the thing's just crawling. But you could put it in second gear, and I could pull that hill just a little bit above an idle, and it didn't have any problem. And then get to the top of the hill and switch the gear back. I got that, a buddy of mine gave me that axle. It's just, everything was the same width. It came off of a Suburban, and it had 9 leaf springs plus the helper spring. He gave me the little things that went on the frame, and that made that truck really nice. And when I sold that one, I kicked myself for 2 years after I sold it, thinking, man, dummy, what'd you sell that for? You know, because it was such a good truck. And it couldn't rust because it was just rhino lined. You couldn't see metal. Even up under the wheel wells, both sides of the fenders, the guy took everything off and rhino lined it and put it all back together. So there were no chips in it that I could see, and I don't see any rust ever on that thing. The cab mounts were solid. He reinforced it from the inside. I think when he got it, it was rusty, and he fixed it. But I got it for $1,400, and that was you don't find those deals anymore. But the motor blew on it, and I was hauling thousands and thousands of pounds of shale to put a road in, and I was coming up this big hill, first gear to the floor, and it was running great. I'm doing about walking speed, and I got to the top of the hill. As soon as I let off the gas, boom! Kaboom! The number 1 piston came out one side, number 2 smacked into the other, and I had 4 cylinders running. I started up to get it home, though. It got me home very slowly. It wouldn't go over 35 even in high gear. We had to dump the shale, but oh well. And then I wound up after we put the motor in, I put a tilt bed on it. You got to pay extra if you have that. Well, the one I got, you didn't know I had it. The switch was under the dash, and when you looked at the truck, it looked like a regular pickup truck. And if somebody found that switch, it did not work unless you undid the clips. There was a couple clips under the frame, and you had to go undo those clips, and then you go under the dash and push the button, and little electric motor, hydraulic, tilts up the tilt bed, dumps all your stuff out. That was my best truck I ever had. And it was 2-wheel drive. Never got it stuck, ever. I had big Durango tires on the back. But I learned a trick. These guys put these really fat mudders on there, and then they get stuck. I just kept the regular width tires, but much bigger. I think they were 32s. And then the front regular car tires. I had regular car shocks on the front, and I had 4 heavy-duty shocks in the back. And the thing rode great. And if you got into mud or slick stuff or something like that, they were thin enough where they could dig down. And then I could just creep out. Don't spin the tire, just creep out nice and slow. It was great for winter time, for in the ice or snow. And the back end was pretty solid, but I could disconnect the sway bar. I had a monstrous sway bar in the back. I could disconnect that if I was going on a real rough road, which I hardly ever did. And then the one set of shocks. I could disconnect them also. So if you wanted a little bit of a softer ride, but it rode pretty rough unless you had weight on that truck. When I had my truck camper in it, it rode very nice. Take the truck camper out, and that back end was like, bum, 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 bum. And you got to watch the back end Joan try to pass you on washboard roads. Get into a corner, you hit the washboards, and that back end would start not as stable as it should have been. But I knew how to drive it. I never let anyone else drive it, though, because they'd have wrecked it. But I hope I get something good coming up here. I hope we can find something, and we can finish off getting a little bit of money to get that. Every time I find one, I'm short. I'm just a little bit short. I did talk to one guy here. He had a real good write-up on one that's not far from here. It's only about 10 miles from here, according to my MapQuest. And I said, I know that's what you're asking. I don't want to come over and look at it because I don't have what you're asking. I have this much. And he's like, nope. And he hung up. Okay. So I won't go. Even if I get the amount of money he wants, I won't even go look at it. Talk to me a minute. Just be nice and say, I probably couldn't do that, but if you get a little bit more, give me a call again. Something like that, but just hang up and be an asshole. Maybe he got a bunch of calls and he got pissed off because a lot of people call and they never come for stuff. That's just how it goes. But hopefully we'll have something. Hopefully I'll have something because once the snow flies, the bike is out, And I'm not really good for walking far. The last couple days, the kidney stopped hurting. They kept telling me, no, it's not your kidney. It's not your kidney. It's just your backache. Well, my back's hurt most of my life. I know what that is. This was the kidney. Well, we did a little something on our own away from the doctor, and guess what? My kidney stopped hurting. It felt like it was a balloon in there, full of pressure and hurting. Well, that's gone now. It's gone. I don't have that. I don't have that pain anymore deep down in the kidney. They say your kidneys don't hurt you. Yeah, they do if something's bad wrong. Yeah. So they're feeling better. I got to go in Monday for the bone marrow to check the white blood cells. They're going to check my red blood cells. They're going to check my blood for the cancer, and they're going to give me a date for the stem cell. But I'm going to ask them, look, if you got it all and there's no more, what do I need the stem cell for? That's my thought. Rick Shaw out.